Welcome to a LaunchPad, where ideas lift off, but only if they're good. From self-driving cars to protein bars, 16 aspiring entrepreneurs are looking to win a spot at the final pitch day. That's where they'll have the opportunity to present their ideas in front of a live audience to attract investments and maybe even win a cash prize. But before all that, they must face our 3 experienced industry experts. Will these budding entrepreneurs impress with their pitch, or will they crumble under pressure? Stepping out onto the LaunchPad are Huda and Chris of Long Life Therapy. Huda's lifelong dream of becoming a Canadian citizen, coupled with the absence of her close family, gave birth to this new idea for Long Life Therapy.
I was born here in Toronto. I'm a mix of Armenian and French Canadian, and I've lived here my whole life. Growing up, my parents have always been working, and whenever they were working, my grandparents were always there for me, and they've been like pivotal in my life. Throughout my life, I've really wanted to pursue a business, like work for myself, not necessarily for another person or a man, but I've always seen myself as working for myself as. So that's why I decided to go through the entrepreneurship major at Seneca College.
I lived in Dubai for 10 years before coming to Canada 5 years ago, and I'm actually officially a Canadian now. Although I live here on my own, I have absolutely no family here, and it's been very difficult for me this year because from my background and my culture is very family oriented. And we have a lot of traditions and occasions that we would do family stuff together, and especially for our New Year's this year. It's at the start of spring, and it's an absolutely big deal for us. We celebrate for 13 days, and it was just really difficult not having my family here. And this business occupied me. It made me busy, kept me going.
We met at Startup Weekend at Seneca College in January of 2017. We worked together on a project with 2 other classmates of mine, and that project won 2nd place at Startup Weekend, and with that, a very generous prize. And from there, we kept in touch.
The fact is that where I come from, it's usually women are not encouraged to go on their own, and they're very protected, and so I feel like for me to have stayed in that sort of environment would have limited my growth, and it was a difficult journey to even get here on my own. So being here right now, being able to do all of this, it's very heartwarming, and it makes you feel like, okay, then maybe I could do this, because remember, before you didn't have the opportunity to do that, right? So yeah, I decided to come here so that I could have more opportunities open up for me, and they have, thankfully, and I'm trying to use them as much as I can. So what we created was actually something completely different, but since then we pivoted a couple of times, and what we reach right now is basically an app that is Uber-like. It connects, it's on-demand babysitting app, which already is out there, right? But what makes us different is that we have the elderly as babysitters taking care of children, not like them being taken care for, because so many elderly are actually healthy and they would want to work and they would want to make more money, and it would add to their quality of life. So in this way, both the working parents would be getting the advantage of having the wisdom and experience of the elderly, and the elderly would have the advantage of contributing to the society and spending their times in a loving way.
Can an Uber-like app change the way we search for babysitters? And can the elderly really fill the gap? Let's see what our panel of experts have to say about this UberSit idea.
Maybe you can tell us where you're at and maybe share with us maybe 3 of your biggest challenges or things that you need to work on for you to attain your mission or your vision, actually.
So the stage that we are at is the very preliminary stage, because we kept on pivoting on this idea.
Yep.
And this was also a last minute pivot. That's why we're sort of nervous. Where our challenges would be, first of all, the vetting process. We have to ensure that we provide quality care both for parents, and also we have to make sure that our elderly are well physically and mentally to be able to provide that care.
From my perspective, before you even go ahead and start developing the app, you're creating a marketplace for childcare or senior care services. I think it's important to figure out your vetting process, because as a parent, I mean, even before I hire a babysitter, we do so many reference checks and background checks, which is going to be very, very important. Uber may not, maybe a lot more sophisticated than an Uber vetting. Mm-hmm. So you got to do some research on how you're going to tackle that part of it. The second most important part is the user experience. Any of the apps that are out there, if it's very convenient, people come up with so many ideas. But if your user experience, whether it's swipe right or left, if you can create that, you could probably make a case and make a present. So certainly you have to do a little bit more research on what you're doing. Do a little bit more research, and I think if you can design a really good user experience, I think that can go a long way.
You can also look at tapping into talent. So at the colleges, for example, to help with development, there are programs, possibly that could assist you, and you can actually really connect with some folks who can really help provide you with some of the support you may need around the development once you get to that stage. Think about the academic institutions as well as kind of an opportunity to actually partner with some real talent who could help you.
Right.
One element that you touched on, which I feel is really important, and that's on the senior, the capability and ability to do that. So that vetting process is critical to the success.
That's right.
Of your business model.
Sometimes entrepreneurs throw themselves off the edge and build an airplane on their way down. Huda and Chris are doing just that. The struggle to reunite an old world solution to a new world problem will continue as long as Huda and Chris remain committed to their vision. Coming up, we meet another exciting new venture.